All right, I'm on her.
All right, I'm gonna try to do the theme music for this episode right now because I'm trying to do it as quick
Mhm.
and dirty as possible these days.
Love
Let's see if
it.
this works. Yeah, that worked.
Well, awesome. I love that. Like sugar pie honey bunch.
It's a yeah, it's just like a Yamaha keyboard from like the 70s, and it does
Nice.
everything that you need if you want to like create the background music for like a high school chemistry class in the 90s.
That's my
Yeah.
dream.
Well, so what I've been doing is I've been talking to people about how their lives, careers, the areas in which they work have been impacted by the pandemic. And I was thinking about you because like I feel like I've talked to quite a few people just in life who've had like career moves interrupted by coronavirus,
Yeah.
but I feel like you got like a ton right in under the wire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, really, what ended up happening at the end of August of last year, just to paint the picture, I turned 30. I moved across the country. I started a job in news, and I like had my book come out and like had finished writing at least on this Comedy Central show that I'm working on. So like everything really was like great. So now that you're done, the world can end and that'll be great. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad that I made the deadline for the Earth ending. But yeah, I definitely feel like one of the lucky ones in many ways, insofar as like, yeah, I I made it far enough before everything went to shit.
So the thing with you and Milana, that's going to be a series.
Well, that's the idea. Hopefully, Comedy Central buys it. But yeah, basically the what they consider it, and it's three sketches that I've done, just in case people don't know. But uh, the idea is that it's an incubated pilot, and so if they like it, and their metric isn't like, did people share it, whatever. It's just like, do they actually think it's funny? Then they will make it as a pilot, but what, or like make it as a show, like a full, season order. But what's wild is like no one knows if there's any production ever again. So it's
That's true.
like they're kind of in a great position to be like, we don't know for the rest of our lives, which kind of sucks. But hopefully they buy it. I think that like I really love how they turned out. They're very, I mean, they're definitely pre COVID-19 world.
Patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. Pat it and roll it and mark it with a J. And put it in the oven for my wedding, which is gay.
You didn't tell me you were queer. You two get out of here.
Oh. We have the right to marry who we want.
I refuse service in my restaurant.
Which city is better, do you think, to be isolated in, LA or New York?
I mean, okay, so like it's complicated because New York obviously is getting hit really hard. And so, I obviously don't want to be in more danger. But I think it's weird to be in LA, just because it's like New York is so my city. I love it. I think the spirit of New York is like how they will get through it. I don't know that LA has like a similar spirit at all. So if it was hitting really hard in LA, I think it would be kind of nightmarish because we're just very splintered. It's very suburban. I don't know my neighbors. So it's like I don't know how great I guess that would go. But I also think that like for me personally, at least, I know so much more about New York. Like, I know all the delivery services and all this stuff. So if I was doing my job in New York before this, it would have been much easier to get, all of the supplies I needed to hunker down. Whereas here, it's like, you got to drive for 45 minutes to a grocery store and see if they have toilet paper. They don't. You got to drive another 45 to another grocery store. So it was just like, I felt really frazzled in the, week leading up to everybody being at home. But now that I'm here, I mean, the weather is nice, and I have outdoor space, which is kind of great, but there was an earthquake. So like, like there's all the give and take of anything.
That's just a never-ending pro and con list. So I feel like when I think about you, another thing I think about you is I think about you as someone who is always right and is always being given a hard time for being right. And one thing that you guys on What a Day were talking about for a long time was the pandemic, like long before the president probably even knew what it was, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I will brag before the Daily at the New York Times, like they didn't cover it the day it happened. We did. Like we covered it the first time it was news anywhere. And what's wild too is like, I think I'm this hotshot that has this podcast that my friends definitely listen to. And I had so many friends being like, I mean, is this really going to be anything? I'm like, you don't listen to my show because it's already something. And like, we're not better equipped than Italy. We're not better equipped than China. Like, why do you think America is going to just be fine? But that's that, American exceptionalism, that, elementary school education about history that's like, we can do anything. Nothing as bad has ever happened to America. And I'm like, okay, well, here we are, a month and a half or more. I think I've been in the house for 7 weeks.
It's really hard to tell, right?
Oh, yeah. I wish I had I need to just go back in time. And what's funny is I bought a calendar for my office, and now it's like in the office, it's going to be this weird relic when we get out of like, oh, I was crossing off days. So this must have been the last day. But yeah, I just know that the last day we worked in the office was, our show is out on Fridays, but I know that Friday was the last day for everyone else. And I think it must have been like the 8th or 9th, whatever day that was in March.
Is it hard? Is it hard producing a podcast from home when you? I mean, I've only ever done that, but I feel like the Crooked Media offices are like, they gotta be nice, right?
I mean, they're great. Yeah, they have 2 studios, and like all of the equipment on Earth. And so I think it is difficult. One reason it's difficult is like I moved here to do this. And part of the reason I moved here is they're like, it's going to be really hard to do it remotely because, everybody else is moving here. We have a team for you. Like, you got to move. And it's really funny to think like, oh, well, actually doing it remotely is like not an option. But I do think that, like, I don't know, there's definitely pros and cons to doing the podcast separately, because I think it took longer in the office because there's distractions and there's so many more meetings, and it's just hard to focus in like a big group space. And now it's like we get on, we have our meeting in the afternoon. I take like an hour and a half to like do something creative. So today I'm painting the bathroom, and then I like write my part of the show. Today I interviewed someone, so that was like a little bit different, but I think I have more time during the day to like take breaks, which feels better, like feels like a better use of time than, just being distracted by someone coming into the office.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be true. For me, it's like totally different because I have 2 tiny little kids. So,
Oh, yeah. I mean, God, my sister has 2 kids, and she's in like the DC area. And it's so funny getting updates on them. They're 7 and 10. And like the 10-year-old boy, Mason, is just like happy to go read a book in a corner and like do his schoolwork and whatever else. And Nadia is like, I need to be outside. I need other kids. Like, I keep getting picture updates of her just like getting more and more swole as she like does pull-ups on a tree branch. Just like, yeah, I don't know if she's going to be able to do this for like several more months.
That's, I guess, one of my questions for you as someone who I feel like must be like at least a month ahead of me in terms of knowing about this and understanding it. What are your biggest concerns right now for coronavirus and for the way that we're handling it or not handling it?
Right. I mean, I think that the problem is always going to be that Donald Trump is ill-equipped to handle any amount of adversity. And so I think the hardest thing is that what we're realizing is it's not only him. Like, it's easy to be like, it's Donald Trump. It's like, no, it's kind of the Republican Party and these, governors who are letting people out of in their states already. Georgia is supposed to be opening back up on Friday, and they're not at all having this under control. They have, 100 deaths a day right now, which means it's just going to spike. It doesn't matter if it's just Georgia, right? Because there are still flights. Which means people can take a flight from Atlanta to anywhere. It's one of the biggest hubs for, like flights. And so I guess my fear is that we're going to have an even worse go of it than we already are. I mean, we are doing the worst job of containing it out of any country on earth. And to have leadership on every level just fumbling is terrifying. And it's only going to make us be stuck in the house longer. And so what I think that I'm kind of scared about on top of all of that is, we're not going to have safe elections unless people call Congress. I've called several times. They're tired of hearing from me. We're not going to, have live events. And we have a Congress that isn't prioritizing giving people rent money and paying them like actual money. Like a $1,200 check is going to last more than a week. Like, it's America. I think that like the inequality in this country is, I mean, the crime is going to go insane. And like, it makes sense. I don't blame anyone who's going to rob somebody to get food in the middle of all of this. So I think that we have, you know, a month in, it's like people are already getting a little antsy and nervous. You know, give it 2 more months, give it a year, and you have people who don't have food now. I think that it's going to get really bad. So that's the stuff that keeps me up at night.
Yeah, thank you. That will also do the same.
Yeah, you're like, great. If it wasn't for the, you know, the kids would have already kept you up, but then there's just the hard, sad reality.
Yeah. No, we're hitting the at 6 months old, you hit the object permanence threshold, and that's when you like stop sleeping for a month. So,
oh yeah.
In fact, if a panic attack about the state of the world could just coincide with that, it's like I'm really getting 2 for the money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like that's going to be really incredible too, is to see a generation of kids who remember this. Like, we thought 9/11 was a
Yeah, it's true.
Look out, babies. Like, imagine, like, I feel like there's going to be hoarders, there's going to be anxious kids. Like, it's all going to be just so much worse. And it didn't have to be. Like, it really didn't have to be.